Hey you guys, it's MJ from IUNPLUG TV, obviously, because if you're actually listening to this right now, you've definitely clicked on IUNPLUG TV. I am the founder of IUNPLUG TV. I share live on YouTube almost every day. I share regularly, which is like every day, and sometimes a few times a day I'll be inspired to share some yoga vibrashe. That's my sort of professional background, is yoga and meditation, on a guided path, having had profound spiritual awakenings when I was 19. And here you are almost 20 years later, and MJ's on her YouTube channel talking about stuff, insights, and perspective based on this paradigm shift and spiritual awakening, transformational experience. It's weird. Like, part of my desire upon the approach to the sharing was like just the trippiness of life, like how, people so-called do psychedelic drugs to like have certain experiences, and I'm like, that's just my life. Like, that sort of psychedelic trippy aspect of existence is a fairly consistent, and has been throughout my life, a fairly consistent awareness of just like, like, what is this? What is existence? And I suppose based on those mystery questions, I, in my own awareness, noodled, I should say noodling, like deducing and working stuff out. And part of a lot of the ushering was like suffering on the planet, disparity and suffering, i.e., why do some people have so much? Why do so many people have so little? What's going on here? What is the underlying issue for the disparity in our suffering patterns as a humanity? And in my heart, I was just like, how can people live in this world and just keep taking and having and creating so much when there's so many issues? Like, why aren't we focused on the so-called issues, right? And ultimately, all of these questions and desires led me on my own path of self-destruction, which is part of this YouTube channel as well. So part of the healing journey from what I often call as just like the systematic imprint of denial and suppression, domination, and control. So in my early awakening noodlings, I was acutely aware of that we are all one in as far as the backbone of energetic creation goes, and as well, like, just the story we're telling on this planet is that we're all a humanity living on one planet. So even my awareness on a planetary level, there was a unity piece, right? Like, beyond color, race, status, whatevs, it was like, well, there's one planet and we all share the planet. So what are we doing? Why are we fighting? Why are we, why are we not able to work this stuff out? So a lot of the deductionary reasoning that I was working with alongside, like lots of just continual spiritual text study, there was a kind of recognition that there's an overlay, you could say, like a mass overlay or a mass veil, that has people believing a construct which is false. So that's the construct of separation, i.e., the reality that we're perceiving, i.e., thinking about and perceiving to be the reality. That construct is illusory in as far as it's based in a perception of separation. So everything that we've created for however many thousands of years or human cycles, all of this humanity is created based in our fundamental perception that the world around me is separate. So the paradigm shift, and this is sweeping energy moving across the globe, is rising the energetic perspective of our humanity to the heart field or higher. So it's allowing us to biofeedback and feel the unity, which many empaths, why I often talk about this being like an empathic community, but a lot of empaths resonate with what I'm talking about because you've had similar experiences, because you've been feeling sentience all along. So at this trajectory, what we're having is more and more and more empathic, psychic, intuitive, witchy type folk, wizards and witches, and warriors and goddesses, and it's like these awake kings and queens. It's like awakening our divine blueprint codes to enable one another to continue to rise ourselves up. Now, we might have certain awakenings and float around YouTube and find different messagings that feel really nice to us, that either feel soothing, or maybe they make us feel really powerful. Um, and all of it is part of our growth and expansion. I'm just aware of different rabbit holes, different loops that we can sometimes hook into on this journey, because it can be so incredibly destabilizing. It can really throw us off our yeah. It just throws us off because we're so imprinted to like buy into like this is the world. And then as we awaken, part of what people call like an ego death or a dark night of the soul is that you're awakening, say, lifting up a veil or an overlay or an aspect of your illusory creation. And then a whole bunch of the parts of you that you identified with and defined as you, when those get taken away via lifting a veil, it's like a whole bunch, it's like you wake up to a bunch of the parts of you that you thought were real but were actually a lie. So you can imagine that that feels destabilizing. That feels uncomfortable to awaken and realize a whole bunch of stuff that you were told that you are or aren't is not true. So spiritual awakening is trippy. It's weird in as far as like this is the world, that's it, and so we're all going along that path. And so at any point it's going to be a little like, or hence people, my experience was often that people attack you, people ridicule and attack you for maybe highlighting something different or demonstrating a different potentiality. And ultimately a big function of my own personal journey to keep deducing out where is the issue overarching the human population. And again, this false perception is a pretty big piece, because all of our constructed realities by this point is based in this illusion. And that is part of why, even in so-called like open-minded situations or even academic situations, we can be having discussions and people, it's ultimately what has driven a lot of like covert, systematic assassination or suicide around whistleblowers or people or doctors or people who come out and start sharing information that would and or empower people or heal people or heal the masses, right? Is that we've often told stories that those people get taken out. And of course, we don't want to be telling those stories anymore. We want to empower ourselves to freedom. We want to own that. We want to own that regenesis within the self and become the healed state, so that no thing and no one can actually infiltrate our field and have power over us. It's just such a kind of deep and emotional and monumental task. I think that we bail on it because actually, weirdly, sometimes it's easier just get a job, make money, and forget about all this stuff completely. And or we make any number of excuses why we don't want to make change. Or like, I know it already. I know it all already. That sort of stuff as well. Because when you feel in the feeling presence of the resonance, that's ultimate you really embodying the divinity of self. There's no separation anymore. There's no unconscious running programs that can come back to haunt you, because you're the full embodiment of power in your life, right? You are so anchored in the knowing that you are that which you see, that, and you've been doing the work for a while, that there's nothing that can hook into you. There's nothing that can hook into you and or infiltrate, because you've already claimed dominion over your field. It's only when we have unconscious programs running, disempowered programs, and so we're seeking self outside of self. So whatever we're seeking, which is an underlying energetic vibe of neediness or desperation, that is always going to come back to bite us in the arse, right? It's always going to come back at some point for us to address it. And it's obvious when it's obvious things that we might have to address in our field. It's less obvious when it's less obvious. Smart. Hey, it's clever over here. So And this is stuff that I pick up in my field when I'm interfacing with people. It's like we all have those blind spots. And that's why I encourage people to use your own life as your biofeedback mechanism. So you don't even need to seek healing or seek information outside of self. Just be present in your feeling space and be aware and or reflect upon like what is in your life. What are you creating? What energy and what and who are you investing your energy and time in, and how does it feel? And does that feel optimal? Does that feel open and aligned, or does it feel draining and contracted and restricted and painful? Depending on that, we have those edges. Just keep choosing the ones that feel lighter. Just keep choosing the ones that feel better for you. The choices that you desire are within you. We just so quickly react against, right? And again, that's part of our distortion in the large majority of our institutions on this planet. It's that because it's based in the separation illusion. That's why everyone's so reactive, because everyone's functioning on the survival mode. Everyone's functioning on fight flight, basically in pain body reactivity, the majority of humanity still. And so as we're outworking this energy, it's really truly just presence and being here now. That's all. And like the awareness field is always there. That's why I encourage people to really drop in and feel the emotions and let there be a backlog clear out. And seeing the reward in people's lives, that once they get over the depth of the clear out, they start to feel that serenity, the peace, the calm, pure awareness, pure divine awareness, that which they're looking for out there was inside them all along, just on the other side of some profound emotion, which we've all been programmed to deny or shame, right? And so really the unlocking of your totality is the presence of your field in the totality, and knowing that you're everything, even the shitty, shitty, shitty shits and the ugliness and the darknesses. I'm getting a lot of energy, like oppressive energy, and really wanting to share with you guys that we really begin to focus on these new energies rather than focusing on the fear and domination tactic, which may or may not be affecting our field around things like privacy and censorship. There again, those are running programs of fear because they're stemming out of paranoia, they're stemming out of a separation consciousness. So if there's a sense of that, remember, ground, relax, become peaceful, take full responsibility for whatever you're projecting, because this is our culmination, completion. We have every opportunity in the here and now to cut out those programs, as in that's not a program anymore in my reality. I'm living in this kind of world fully now, anchoring it in, and I can feel it because it's like I'm like a completely different person. Who's that person? It's like there's not even a resonance connection to my early childhood or past life. You just continue to walk and step into that, and then there's no residue. Eventually, there's not even any residue. Okay, that's it. I must have gone unlisted because nobody showed up today. I'm like, hey, guys. I love you loads. Have a great day. I hope that was useful to you guys. Peace out.